It's Monday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Moriah Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Hello, Tokpe Makodige. How are you doing?
I'm very good. I declared August my month of abundance.
Amen.
And reiterated it every day in everything. And over the weekend, I was able to, I've been processing a few properties, and one came through in E4. So, like, we'll be having a property in E4. And I am so happy, because at the point, all through last, I was just waiting, when is he going to, like, when are we going to get our own deal? When are we going to get our own deal? And I'm also going to say, E4 is...
down my area?
Yes.
Down.
After Songo.
Yes, after
yeah.
Songo.
So I went there, and, like, the area is very developed. There's like three major public school right in front of the land, you know. Yeah, so I'm so happy that we have such a strategic place. I can't wait for all the other things that God will bring in the abundant month of August, you know.
How you doing, Obiajilu?
Doing amazing.
Long time no see.
As in, you know that missed me. Moriah did not miss me.
Oh, my Lord. You know, you're begging for me this morning.
So you know me, I cannot hide my own. I'm doing great. I had to take a week off so I could prepare my family for their vacation. The US people did not give me visa. There was no date, actually, so I couldn't go with them. But I didn't want to stop them. I wanted the kids, I've been there before, I wanted the kids to have a good time. They've landed, they're having fun, I'm home alone. I'm not lonely, you know, but I'm alone. I'm trying as much as possible to get ready for my programs, get ready my training slides, my materials, I'm busy, actually. I'm busy. Good. I'm thinking of having like a house party for the ladies.
Please invite us. you know, interesting. Last week was really tough for me. I was doing my dissertation. It was crazy. We had deadlines to meet. We were trying to submit. So that's why I didn't even notice that she was not around. Honestly, I do apologize. So
you were not around yourself.
Honestly, I didn't. I was constantly trying to get that stuff done. How are you doing, Mariam?
I'm doing fine. I have an addiction, guys.
What's that?
That's taking a lot of my money. Plants.
Oh,
constantly buying.
We saw it when it started. We didn't know it to get to this level.
Yeah.
Now you're just accumulating.
I'm telling you, I'm driving past. I say, whoa, what plant is this? I just got myself some new plant. I'm so excited about it. I love it, but
it's like your house now becoming like a
yes, but I love it, but it takes a lot of money.
It shouldn't be expensive, though.
Yeah, so that's another thing. Of course, you know, once you find interest in something, then you get to know a lot more. Lagos, people can be so expensive. But you don't like selling plants as if you are selling.
You don't like cheap things naturally, Miriam. You don't. You like,
no, I like quality things, and if it comes cheaper, good. But if it doesn't come, what can I do?
And maybe where you're buying from, Ireland.
Yeah, but I buy from everywhere.
And it's all expensive.
Yeah, well, I found this guy who was not so expensive and found all the plants that I liked. So I'm so excited about this one. So, you know, there's something about spending a lot of money once, and then there's something about spending small. It's still the same thing.
Yeah, it's still when you come to your plants, it's an investment.
It could also be that when they see you, they increase their prices. You have this look. So if you come into my store, for instance, I'll have to double the price. You know?
Imagine that.
I think I wear a t-shirt. I don't have enough money. I'm a regular Nigerian.
How are you doing? Brian parties all through the weekend.
Please.
No, we have to hear.
We gotta hear it. What my bank actually was supposed to fact that this whole past week, I mean, I think I did some budget on my kids. I mean, I kept breaking promises. I'll take you out after work. I'll take you out this weekend. I was supposed to take them out. And, you know, I just never did anything. So yesterday, my daughter called me and said, Mommy, do you realize that all your promises this last week, you know, so she actually was waiting for me. She didn't even, she didn't remind me. She didn't remind, just called me for a meeting. I'm like, and I felt really bad, so I'm going to take them to the conservation center next weekend.
Oh,
fantastic! Every event I have exits for next weekend. Nothing this weekend. I'm going to focus Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Do you know what? This reminds me. Emma sent me one too because of breaking promise. She wrote, "Are you a heartbreaker? Yes or no?"
How is that?
And she gave me the paper. I should tick yes or no.
Oh gosh! Oh, thank God. I mean, so yes, I partied, but you know what? I'm going to slow down. No more parties. Because not that is for now. There's one more shine at the end of the month.
Oh, Lord.
But just make sure you get the kids.
We're going to party for food and dance, and you know.
It wasn't bad this weekend.
Yeah.
Let's go on a break. When we return, we go through the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Okay. Okay, we're going to start with the Punch. No work, no pay directive. FG battles NARD. Opens attendance, registers resident doctors adamant. Picture here of Tokyo empty stands as Tokyo 2020 ends at the Olympics. I have not fled Nigeria. I'm in Benin Republic for Igboho, says Akintoye. Ogboni chief herbalist, kill money, ritual seeker, share body parts. Sit at home. Confrontation blooms as IPOB blows hot. Government vows clamp down. Oyo Jigawa Katsina declare Monday, Tuesday holiday for Islamic New Year. FG postponed vaccination resumption indefinitely. Lists 3,707 cases in 1 week. Petrol landing cost hits 249 naira per litre. The regulation remains uncertain. Okay, let's start with the human interest story in the Punch.
This human interest story is like a movie, an Hollywood movie. So this Ogboni cult chief, his name is Ifadare Afolabi. He and his friend Ifasheon Afolabi, who is a herbalist, and another friend of theirs, Taiwo, conspired to kill a 35-year-old who had come to them to ask for money rituals. And instead, they used him, killed him, used his body parts for their own rituals so that they can get more clients. He says, but unfortunately, it did not even work. It was as if they were now under one spiritual attack. The clients were not even coming, so they don't even know. So what they did is they sold the heart for 15,000. Wow. They gave the head, they sold the head and leg to Adeleke Kabiru, Oloyede Moruf, Oseni Mukaila, and the rest they buried. So the reason why they even found out where this man was his mother had, had reported to the police, and they said through thorough intelligence work, they were able to find that this was what had happened to him. He had killed him and buried him. She was only able to identify him by the clothes that he had on. That is the story. People are dealing with human beings as if they're dealing.
Please, can we explain to these people that they should forget about the Nollywood movies they have watched? There is nothing like money rituals. You just kill somebody for nothing.
No, the person you want to go and do money rituals with is poor. Like you go and meet a poor person to do money rituals.
To help you do money rituals. There's nothing like that. It was Nollywood that brought this. Can we start telling people
the reality
major
on ground?
Story, please?
Major headline, please. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the federal government has mandated the chief medical directors in teaching hospitals across the country to open attendance registers with a view to stopping the salaries of doctors taking part in the strike by the National Association of Resident Doctors. So they had started the strike today. They suspended the strike and gave the federal government about 100 days to go back to the memorandum of agreement that they had signed initially, but it seemed like the federal government did not respond to them. So they have gone back to the strike, and they are saying that the federal government cannot beat a child. As a father, you cannot beat a child and stop the child from crying. If you want to take the no work, no pay rule, fine. They have agreed to go ahead with it. They are not threatened by it, but they are wondering where the federal government is going to get 16,000 trained resident doctors to replace the people that they want to do away with. So this is not saving costs in any way. The different federal hospitals are complaining. There are a lot of people there. There are no consultants to attend to them. I don't know. I think they should have a meeting. Though they said I think somebody in the House of Reps have called them for a meeting today. So hopefully we may hear something.
So Tokyo ended in lots of lights and colors, fireworks, videos.
And empty stands.
Empty stands, obviously, for obvious reasons. But as you recall, we sent about 54, I think, no, 50, let me see the number we sent. We got 2 medals, Esebrume and Blessing Oborududum. 2 women. 2 women.
Wow.
Really fantastic. Well done to them.
Thank you.
So, it was interesting to just see. I missed the closing ceremony. I liked watching the opening and closing ceremony.
I usually like it, but,
but I missed it this was a bit.
Why did you miss it?
She was at a party. Please, I want to take the petrol story. Very important, concerns us all. Landing cost of petrol now hits 216 naira per litre. If we all remember, we're buying 4 currently now for 162 and 165 naira per litre. For those buying at the official rates, there's a gap. And as at the press release for the month from PPM, the petroleum pricing, PPPRA, for this month had already pegged fuel prices to be at 209 to 212 but the outcry of people, they deleted that post. So right now, if we're buying fuel, there's a huge deficit, which means that we're also going to be paying a huge amount of money
wow.
in subsidy, because the dollar increase, petrol prices have gone up. I mean, crude oil prices have gone up, and dollar has gone up. So the combination of those two doesn't go well for petrol. And how long are we going to continue to fund?
I thought we already agreed that we're going to remove subsidies. So we are ready to tighten our belt to pay this amount. Yeah. Is that what they're saying? I mean,
it's going to be over 220 naira per
what do you
liter.
suggest we should continue to pay
subsidy? No, I don't believe in subsidy, but the point is people would come out and there's a lot of hardship.
We need to pick
right
a side, though.
Yeah.
We need to pick a hustle.
Well, thank you, JRABC. We need to pick a hustle.
Pick a hustle. You want subsidy or not?
Daily Sun. Secondus knows fate tomorrow. Suspense as IPOB splits over sit-at-home order. President PFM describes Badejo's death as shocking. School abduction. Nans asks FFG to declare bandits terrorist group. Yoruba Nation, I'm not on the road, says Akintoye. Suspense in APC continues as leaders wait on Buhari. And Constitution Review Senate denies plans to create 20 new states. Okay, which story are we taking?
The IPOB story.
Right.
IPOB had ordered that everyone in the 5 southeast states were to sit at home starting today, every Monday, for I think up until Nnamdi Kanu had been released. And there was also a threat that if you do not stay at home, whatever happens to you, you'll regret it. But then there's also like a counter order. They said this was by his brother, and he said that having listened to, well-meaning citizens and everyone else, that due to the NACO exam starting soon, they want to move the date for the sit-at-home until after the NACO exams. But people are confused because another spokesperson for IPOB is saying they have not heard about that suspension. There's no suspension, and if you come out, you will regret it. The Anambra State government is also saying to all commissioners and permanent secretaries that they should monitor the situation, that all civil servants must report to work, and anyone who doesn't will not be paid their August salary. So right now, I don't envy anyone living in that area now. You're caught in the middle of this back and forth. Yes.
So the former General Overseer of Foursquare passed on in the UK at the age of 74. And PFN, the presidency, and quite a number have also sent their condolence that his soul rests in peace. He has been an advocate for not just his church, but for the betterment of Nigeria, and somebody that we will definitely miss, the church will definitely miss, and has been a strong pillar in the Christian work so far.
Yeah, so the National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, are urging the President Muhammadu Buhari, to declare bandits kidnapping students in the northern part of the country as terrorists. They said that anyone who has the propensity to kidnap pupils in large numbers and kill them and ask for ransom is a terrorist, and that should be declared. But so far, the president hasn't responded to them. They also said they've had meetings with Sheikh Gumi, appealing to him to tell the bandits to please stop going to public schools. These are children of the poor people. When you go to public schools like that, the government will feel there is no need to respond because, almost like inconsequential. So they are appealing to the federal government. They know that, according to them, they know that they have tried a little, but it's not good enough. They need to beef up security in all of those schools. And
okay, let's take one more story in Daily Sun.
Killing of Christians can no longer be tolerated. That's from CAN. And the youth wing of Christian Association of Nigeria is speaking concerning the fact that there's been several attacks within the north against Christians, that over 3,000 Christians have been killed in the past 3 months. And those are not, and the people that are doing it are not relenting. The solution is to pray, but beyond that, there's a whole lot more. I wanted to read what the advice was. They said, we must note that the solution is for government to create jobs for youth and provide subventions. With this done, all Nigerian insecurity challenges will change. That's from Chuku, and they are also saying that they want to have a summit that would involve both Muslim youths and Christian youths to come together and address the security challenges facing Nigeria.
Okay, let's go on a quick break. When we return, we continue with review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
pulling with lashes. Thanks for staying with us. We're going to move on now to Daily Trust. FG postpones COVID-19 vaccination as DAO's donated doses. Importers, exporters lose billions over customs server failure. Kidnappers free Bayelsa businessman, detain ransom couriers. Obiano Omai asked residents to ignore the IPOB sit-at-home order. Senate lists conditions for creation of new states. PDP crisis. Governors decide Secondo's fate today. Okay, let's start with the major headline.
Yes.
COVID. Yes, Mary.
So the federal government has asked for has suspended the next batch of vaccinations that was supposed to commence. I think that was on the 8th or so. They had received 4 million doses, remember the Moderna doses, on August 2nd. But they said experts raised concerns because the consignment from COVAX was not accompanied by a certificate of analysis and lot release certificate. Also, that these particular vaccines were manufactured from sites not certified by World Health Organization emergency use listing for Moderna vaccines. So people who are used to the process of how the vaccination happens, the logistics of it, were the ones that raised the concerns. The federal government did not give any reasons to the why they had suspended it, but these are what people are saying. So this is making people uncomfortable. Yeah. Although, Tokwe, do you want to take the other?
Yes, the Federal Ministry of Health and NAFDAC, we reached out to confirm what they have to say concerning this. And the unofficial statement, the spokesperson did not respond to messages according to Daily Trust, but the unofficial tone, what they've heard from people that did not want to be identified, the sources within NAFDAC and Ministry of Health are saying that many directors in both agencies are concerned about the safety of these vaccines, but are afraid to speak out because they don't want to lose their jobs. But I'm happy that even as they're not speaking out, they've paused the distribution, and we are waiting. NAFDAC actually approved it, though. You know, NAFDAC said there's really nothing.
I'm happy that there are proper checks, obviously. Yes. So they want it to
and it helps the concerns many Nigerians have that they don't want to get vaccinated because they are thinking something might go wrong. That the government's actually taking their time to do their due diligence before releasing.
It makes sense.
Okay, another story.
So importers and exporters are complaining that they are losing billions of naira weekly in forms of demurrage and storage costs caused by the incessant server failure at the Nigerian Customs Service. So this particular server, according to one of the agents, said that it failed about 8 days ago. And for 3 days, there's no server. They are not able to perform any form of transaction. They are not able to register or take away their cargo from, you know. And I think it's happening at the seaports, Apapa and Tinkan Island. And a lot of them are complaining about it. Now, there's this... they had sent their complaint to the customs, and the customs is saying that we are not the ones in charge of the server. There's a company that handles it, Web Fontaine. They manage the customs server. And some of the agents are saying, if they are not effective, why don't you sack them? And the problem now is that company has been doing it. They've been the only ones doing it, so it's more like a monopoly. There's no other company that is handling that server, and they are appealing. That's the agents now and the importers and exporters. Instead of you giving us the extra bills to pay, why don't you move those funds to Web Fontaine to handle? Maybe they will be able to sit up and ensure that their server works. So,
the story that was really painful here. I mean, so a billionaire in Bayelsa State, Mr. Tari Ajanami, who had been with the bandits for 2 whole weeks. He was with the kidnappers, and then he was recently freed by some ransom. The kidnappers had asked for 200 million naira. His family was able to make up I think about 15 million or so to release him. So they detained his wife and father, who came to drop the ransom, and exchanged him. So they're obviously asking him to go and get the money. So for the shortfall, for the 185 million shortfall, they detained both the couriers, that's his wife, 38-year-old wife, who has high BP issues, and the father also. And I think they've now caused him to go and get the money to free them. So very, very painful.
This does not make sense.
Doesn't make any sense.
Because we have people who have gone to the place, and we have someone who is leaving from the place. What I should be hearing is that because of this information, the police caught them. Yeah. It does not make sense.
So would you allow them to go by themselves to go and hand over the ransom?
So we know the starting point, we know the end point. We know someone who has been there. What is happening?
They cover their faces.
I wanted to say
that. But there's a location is what I'm saying. There's a location now.
You may not know the location.
this is Nigeria. We're not asking people from outside to come and help us. This is Nigeria. Where would they have gone in 2 weeks?
It's not that easy. There's a place where you're going to go and exchange.
Yeah.
Me, I'm carrying the money to you.
Yeah.
At the point where I'm exchanging, where you want to detain me.
Your eyes are not open. There's a way somebody will pick you from your location. You enter a car. Because this happened to someone very close to me recently. You enter a car, they drive you to that location. So you don't really know where you are.
It's the question
but if you're a security agency,
I'm even asking that the security should have accompanied the family.
No, they will tell you. They will warn you. If you bring security, we kill these people.
It's not that easy.
Nigerian Tribune. Secondus PDP elders to seal fate governors meet today. I noticed you guys don't take political stories. You're not interested. Okay, no problem. It's okay. Let's leave them where they are. When they finish, we know who they are.
You know how politicians, I don't go back and forth.
And in Benin Republic, in solidarity with Goho, not on the run, says Akintoye. Government abducts Swiss expatriate driver in Enugu. Confusion as Kanu's younger brother suspend IPOB sit-at-home order. Billionaire business magnate Hoza Okumo dies of cancer in London. Akeredolu advocates for new constitution in Nigeria, and the FG lists criteria to access 250 billion naira gas intervention fund. Okay, which story are we taking?
The Swiss expatriate was abducted in Ogun State just on his way out of his farm. So he runs a farm in Ogun State, and he was living there for another area where gunmen just accosted them. He was abducted with his driver. They started a shootout. And 2 of the workers in the farm were injured. One of them died before he was taken to the hospital. But the police, I think they got wind of it, and they were able to trace them a bit. They had a shootout between them. According to the police, they said they had killed 2 of them, but they escaped with the Swiss expatriates, and they are saying that they are going back to the field to find a way to rescue the person.
Yeah, so the Senate is saying that they have heard media reports that they were planning to create, that they had proposed the creation of 20 states, that first of all, they cannot by themselves make this recommendation, that this was something that came up while they were discussing the constitutional review. People had made the recommendation. And so even by the Constitution, this is not something that they can propose unless there's a compliance with, the purpose of creating a state shall only be passed if a request supported by at least 2/3 of the majority of the members representing the area demanding. So they're saying that they did not make this proposition that's out there.
All right, so the leader of the umbrella body of the Yoruba Self-Determination in Ilana Omo-Oduwa, Professor Banji Akintoye, on Sunday said that he did not flee Nigeria, according to reports saying that he fled because he was being persecuted. He said no, that he went to the Republic of Benin in support of Igboho to coordinate and supervise how to legally rescue the detained activist Igboho from government and remind him back to, hopefully to help him to get the asylum, and then he can move on to safety. So he was saying that he's not there, he didn't flee Nigeria, that there's nobody chasing him, that he didn't break any law. Also, we heard that the former president of Nigeria, Obasanjo, also was in Republic of Benin. So obviously, he's getting quite a bit of support from elders within the Southwest, and we continue to observe the reports and see what happens in the coming weeks. And nobody talk about the billionaire that died. I heard that he had cancer. Yeah. Really, really sad story. Yeah. He passed on.
He's a
philanthropist, very, very wealthy man, and he's been very influential in his community for many years. So may his soul continue to rest in peace. The point: executive, legislature clash looms in Lagos. Okowa under fire over 6 commissioners for 2 ministries. Revealed 6 ways bankers defraud depositors. And courts clear the coast for coronation of the 21st Olu of Warri. Congratulations to the Olu of Warri. I'm so happy that that's behind us now, and then he can move on. Yes, which story are we taking the point?
So Delta State,
yeah,
so the governor of Delta State recently appointed 4 extra commissioners to man different commissions. So 2 extra commissioners for the Ministry of Education and another 2 for Ministry of Works. So now, before they had 2 for education, now I'm making it 4 because he said that they needed, the education is very wide and they needed to, share it into different departments. I wanted to get it. So we have the primary, we have the tertiary, we have
Yeah, primary education and secondary education, higher education and technical education. So they all have their commissions, their ministries now. Now for the works, they have a highway and urban roads and rural roads. So two commissioners will be handling the Ministry of Work. But critics are saying that this doesn't make sense. You don't need as much. Because to set up a commissioner, they pay them like 60 million just to set up, and it's non-refundable to the government. That with the economical the dwindling resources in the economy right now is not what you need to be setting up more commissions for. So that you should take a look at Lagos State, for instance, that had to, they have, with all the money they are generating in the country, they are not even having more than one commissioner per ministry. So this is not the time.
Well, this person is just speculating, saying that 60 million. We don't know that for a fact, but I can understand what the government is saying. Listen, there's a huge problem. These are many years of decadence, many years of neglect. So sometimes you need that extra, but maybe you don't need as many. But I can understand the focus and the need to actually get the work done. You're going to take final story for you, right?
Major headline, the ex-governors of Lagos State usually gets pensions, and there had been a bill proposed by the executive saying that they should take off those, they should take off the pension. But now the law that is being passed by the Lagos State Assembly is giving a 50% slash, which commentators and activists are saying it's hypocrisy. That why would they say take it out? Other states have taken it out. Kwara took it out completely. Why would Lagos State, a lot of the governors, previous governors of Lagos State already have access to a lot of incentives being in government. Lagos has a lot of funds that come in, security votes, that they shouldn't get any pension at all, considering that other states have taken it out completely. But
not all other states, just a few other states.
A few other states have taken it out completely. But the Lagos State Assembly said that they are not rubber stamps. They have a decision to look through the policy and weigh what they feel is the best solution per time. And the governor, current governor sitting, said that until he receives the bill and the details of the bill, he won't say anything. So we're still waiting to see
what is best for them or for the people that they are leading. We need to be sure.
Okay, that's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we return, move on to the hot topic of the day. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Can I have
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So, amid many states nearing insolvency, the Senate allegedly recommends the creation of 20 new states. According to reports, they had proposed that referendum be conducted for the 20 new states by the INEC with certain conditions. Now, as we read in the papers earlier, senators said they had nothing to do with this, that this was based on the recommendations that came in from the constitutional review that they had recently. But what are your thoughts on this? Do you think we need new states? For those clamoring for new states, do you think they have grounds to do so? What are your thoughts? Let us hear you. You can call us on 081-270-53687, also 091-390-76948. You can send us messages on YouTube and Facebook. We'd like to read your messages. So let me come to the ladies. Missy, you want to start?
Yeah, so I think we need a new everything. I actually think Nigeria needs a major brain transplant. Like all of us should go somewhere first, then Nigeria will renew itself and then we come back. Because the way things are happening, it begs the question, where are we going? But I think we also should plan to do things according to priorities. What's most important? Right. How do we take it step by step? Let's not be in a hurry to jump the guns. Everybody is clamoring for restructuring. We can't be talking restructuring on one hand and talking creation of states on the other. Are they creating the states under the form of unitary system of government that we're running, or we are waiting for states to be restructured so that we have our regions where they have they can take ownership, they can control their resources, then each region will decide, okay, we need like 4 more states to add to this so that everybody is not, some people are not marginalized. Right. Do we wait for that? Or do we, on one hand, be shouting, we want different states? When we create those states, do we have the modalities to take care of them, knowing now that they are dwindling resources states are complaining about? They can't even fund themselves. So I think we should learn to prioritize, arrange things in order. Like, I wonder the sort of people that come up with all of these suggestions, how do they plan in their homes? How do they organize things?
Okay, let me hear your initial thoughts on this.
Okay. So because it's a constitutional review and we had asked Nigerians to give their recommendation, so I think every recommendation is valid, or every idea that was given is valid, and it comes from a place of need. So I think, you know, many people, people have been asking for states because in some places, in some particular states, they feel that they are marginalized because they're a minority, and maybe they also feel the government is so far away from them. If they had like another state, the government would be much closer. So I get that. I get where that is coming from, the need for why they think they need for more states. But I do not think it's the best way. One, I think the financial implication is just huge. So what are we going to be talking about? Government houses, national state houses of assembly. Do you understand the cost of just running another state right now, given where we are? I don't think we can do that. Then every time we talk about minorities, is that I feel that the more states you create, the more minority groups you will have. What I would suggest is that we should empower the local governments. We should strengthen the local government council. We should strengthen in such a way that it can take care of that community. You have a powerful local government chairperson and all the facilities and all the resources that needs to run a local government, because it's the government that is closest to the people. And people clamor for these things because they're not really, they're not receiving the dividends of the democracy that they have voted in. So that is what they're asking for, really, not really about the states. But if these people were getting exactly what it is that they wanted, there's education, there's health, there are jobs, people won't constantly clamor for more states. And if we do that finally, and if we do that, at least it will come from a place of abundance over from a place of where there's so much lack.
Let me come to talk about your initial thoughts on this.
I feel that the reasons for this is because there isn't equitable representation, and people feel that they are not recognized as a bloc that is formidable. And maybe if we have states, they would be more recognized as a formidable bloc in the scope of things. So it's a cry for based on bad governance. Is a cry based on injustice. And the real root of the problem is not to, the solution is not to create more states, but to deal with the injustice and the bad governance. If we have good governance, if we have justice and equity with the sharing of every resource that belongs to the community, there will be no need for states. If everybody is covered, there will be no need for states.
There's a rationale that this might be a security, and because of insecurity. Let me tell you why. Because there have been talks that the Borno state in itself is like the entire south. It's bigger than the entire southeast. So that is how huge the landmass of Borno is. And they're saying that one governor, for example, cannot really handle the entire region. But others have also said that the entire Nigeria is like the whole of Texas, really. Because the entire landmass of Nigeria is the whole. So it's not so much about the
so
mass.
It's really about
but the truth is that if we bring it down, though, I mean, based on what we have, because we can't really compare Nigeria to Texas or to the U.S. Because the U.S. is like a continent on its own. But the truth is, does the Borno governor, for example, I'm not saying they're asking for more stuff, I'm just saying that, using that as an example, would there be more security in Borno if we had broken it up a bit more, where there are smaller states that are manageable by the governors?
Borno is actually asking for another state. They are part of those that will be getting one more state. I think that Mayam already gave us the solution in that you empower the closest government to the people, and let there be justice and good governance across board. However, let's talk about the numbers. It is definitely not sustainable because currently, most of our states are insolvent. Like, most of the states we have are failed states. They cannot survive on their own. They depend, 70% of their resources come from federal government. And they are not, their internally generated revenue cannot sustain them in any form. So what we are now doing is a piece of the pie. we also want to have a piece of the pie. The structure on ground already doesn't work. If we had a true federalism system where the government doesn't give anybody money, you have to generate your funds. If we have more states, each state, you're on your own now.
So, for example, I mean, just based on what you're saying now, because we're speaking with the Commissioner of Education on Friday, and if I had gone to Badagry, and that entire region is almost like they're fishermen.
Yes.
So you run a local government where your revenue generating is from fishery, where you are empowering not just even the fishing, but even the shoreline, where you have tourist centers, tourism. These are various industries that can actually be used, but because the governor of the state is so much doing other things that it's hard for him to focus. So you're saying that if we empower this local government to actually make revenue, but I don't know. There's still the argument for the state.
We have that constant conversation between state and local government, where it seems that the local government just gets like stipends from the state. So they get the allocation that is supposed to even come to them. It goes through the state, and then they decide on what they think maybe what they think the local government may need.
They said they actually get the money.
Anyway, well, but we had someone who came here and told us how it works. It says they actually do not get what it is due them. That it goes through the state government, who determines how much of it that they think that they have. But really, and that's for me, a lot of the call for restructuring, whatever it is that we're calling for, if we strengthen the local government, we will have better local government representatives. So people who are running for that office will realize it's such an important office. So we'll get the best minds. We'll get the best minds. They'll make sure that they provide the best facilities. You know, they'll make sure that the local government schools, for example, you have all those LGA primary schools doing very well because there's so much funds and, you know, that has been... there's so much funds that has been, given to them. So that's what we need to do. I think asking for more states is just not.
But let's get a quick break. Come back to continue the conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're still discussing the issue of additional states. Bisi, you're going to say something after
Yes, so we also need to check the intentions of these states that want more states, because according to the National Bureau of Statistics, a lot of them have debts that they are owing, domestic debts and international as well, that they have not been able to pay. And so if you're clamoring for more states because you think some parts of your state are marginalized and they are not being fully represented, why didn't you fully represent them? What is your role as a leader? Aren't you supposed to bring everybody together, bring everybody to the table? How do you ensure that the corruption that has bedeviled you, one state now, that when you divide it into 2, 3, or 4, that same corruption will not continue? Because it's still the same people that are going to move to those states. We still have to think of all the things we need to make that state work. And I also worry that governors or state governments are not thinking of how best to generate revenue for their states. They're not coming up with new ideas. They are not looking inwards. They are not asking questions on how they can do better. What if tomorrow there is no money coming from the federal government? That means a lot of states will close down. And probably a place like Lagos will be so overpopulated. Everybody just move to Lagos to find ways to. So the intention, let's be clear that they really mean well for the states that they want to create.
Right, let me take this call. Good morning. Are you there? Hello? Sarami from the UK. Good morning. Are you there?
Yes.
Okay, I'm having issues hearing him. Yes.
Let me follow up. What BC raised a very important point. Many of the states already have debts. So when you divide the states, who carries the debts? Because the debts are used to create roads. So if your state now takes the road, who will now carry the debt that funded that road? There will be many challenges. Another thing I wanted to address concerning that is the leaders are not the ones that are asking for the states. It is the people that feel marginalized, people that feel like we're not represented, we're not getting the best of this government. So they're the ones speaking again, they are the one clamoring for state. The governors would not want to have more states. And we should look at the history of the challenges. When Osun and Oyo separated, when it was divided into 2 states, there were issues with the fact that one state felt like we had all the ministries, we had a huge staff strength that we needed to fund, and the other state does not have
as much
responsibility that we had to fund all this staff in because they were already part of, they were from our unit. There are many other
the universities they had issues with,
yes,
remember?
And I think that the Senate and the House of Representatives shouldn't say this is what they asked for.
No, they are not. What they are saying, what the Senate said, they are reminding Nigerians that if you really indeed want states, what you need to do is go to the House of Assembly, get a 2/3. We need a 2/3 from the House. That's the process, democracy. So don't just, yes, you've said it in the constitutional review, but the right thing is that 2/3 of your House first must then send that to them, the National Assembly. They must also have a 2/3 and another 2/3 vote for it. So that's the process. But we can't just say we want this and it's going to get a change. It doesn't happen that way. Yeah. Okay, I think we're going to say anything final on this?
Okay, go ahead. I wanted to say that if you get, so it's good that people are coming out to say what they want for the country based on what they have seen and how they feel we can move this country ahead. But it still lies on the leaders to find a way to explain to them that this is not what we need right now. So I'm not advising you to take it to the House and give us 2/3 for it to pass. That's not what we're saying. We're saying that we need to start from the beginning. So if we want to get here at the end of the day, can't people push for restructuring first? By the time we restructure, then we can have the, there's a way you can direct your children. No, hold on. Direct your children right. They have their ideas and everything, but when they come up with something is not feasible, find a way to explain to them. They are not talking to us.
So I think that's what we're discussing this, because, 1 minute we say, you're not our fathers, we elected you there, so they cannot direct their children right in that way. Do you understand? So we have this conversation. Let me take this call from Stanley's been holding. Stanley, are you there?
Oh, I'm so sorry, I missed that call.
We have a message from, Yomi Williams says, the idea of creation of additional states is a lopsided federal, in a lopsided federal system, where the federating unit lack the legitimate power to control its fiscal and natural resources, will further harm the already impecunious entity.
Okay.
True fiscal federalism, not creation of more state centers, more cost centers, is the only panacea for economic development and peaceful coexistence. You have sent me to the...
Really?
But panacea. But I think that what it's just saying is that true federalism, control of natural resources is the solution. Not that we should create more cost centers and be collecting
I think we're all on the same page on this. Let me check. B, are you there? Thanks for calling.
And those clamoring should hear. This is majority.
Hello. Good morning. Are you there?
Hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Okay. Federal government and the House of Rep, I think they are still mixing a lot of things up. It's not possible for you to create another state while you have not, the state that they are existing, they are not yet equipped.
Yes.
It's not possible. I don't know why federal government and House of Rep, they keep pushing us left, right, and then they're just trying to mess up this country. This country is already messed. They are not being able to tackle Boko Haram. They are not being able to tackle so many things. And they want to create another state. So where are those people are going to be getting their money from?
Thank you, B.
The main government have not been able to get money to get revenue to do things for their state, and they still want to create another one.
Yeah.
It's like
so B, it's important that I rephrase.
Are they blind?
Okay. B, it's important that I rephrase. This was not a proposition from the federal government or the Senate. These were feedback from the Nigerian people during the constitutional review. And what they're saying is responding to us that we should follow due process by going to our leaders in the House of Assemblies before we can have that review. So we're discussing it because we feel that since Nigerians want this state, let's hear both sides. So I would really like to hear from somebody who voted for additional states. It would be great to hear from you why you think we need additional states. Let's discuss and have a conversation. That's really what this is about. So I know it's easy to demonize the federal government and say, yes, it is them. It's not them in this situation. We are the ones asking for it. They have already told us it's not going to happen until you follow the right process. I think we can wrap up on that.
Yes.
Let's go on a break. When we return, another hot topic. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So our next hot topic is coming directly from Enugu State. We got reports that people in Enugu, Nigerians in Enugu, are complying to the sit-at-home order from IPOB. And the governor of the state has since redirected his citizens to go about their normal businesses. We'd like to hear from Nigerians in that state and other regions who are complying with IPOB. What is going on and why do they choose to align with IPOB on this sit-at-home order? Call us on 081-270-53687, 091-390-76948. You can also send us messages on YouTube and Facebook. We'd really like to hear your messages. So when we read this report, sit-at-home order, I mean, people have complied. I think it's on Mondays. Every Monday they said. And citizens have complied 2 weeks in a row. And the government is taken aback. Like, what happened? How come everybody seems to have complied to this? I beg to wonder that, okay, who is in control of the state? So what are your thoughts on this sit-at-home order? Do you think, how does it play out in your mind when you read about this? And I'd like to, before we're taking calls from the Southeast, Sakwa, you want to start?
Yes, I was very worried. I've been worried about the Southeast since the inception of Nnamdi Kanu. Even before he now we now have IPOB and we had ESN. I've been very worried, and I think that when we don't deal with the root cause of any problem, we nip at a few things elements that we can handle, we will still continue to face the same problem over and over again. There is a feeling of lack of government presence, and lack of trust of the system across Nigeria. And I think that's the real problem. We don't trust the system. We don't trust the government is working for us. We don't feel the impact of the government working for us. And so if anybody seems to be speaking and connecting with us, connecting with our needs, then we'll listen to that person. So it's happening in the Southwest. It's Sunday Igbo. It is the clamoring for this one, that one. It's happening again. And it happened in Niger Delta, where there was consistent clamor for marginalization, our oil spills, resource control, and we didn't deal with the problem. We sorted some elements, but the real problem is still on ground. And now we are seeing it rear its head in the Southeast, where a group of people feel like, my people are suffering, my people are uncomfortable, and they are saying we would protest like this. Now, whether the citizens of the southeastern state that have complied were cowed into compliance, or whether they complied based on fear of their lives or coerced into compliance, the point is somebody, not the government, made people sit at home. The government should be worried, and it is not an attack. It is not by threatening people or fighting them. It is by understanding why are people complying? Why do people trust these guys? Why are they listening to them? What's the problem?
To be fair, I mean, if you feel that an order was given and it says if you come out, you'll regret it. I mean, first thing, we have this self-preservation thing as human beings. And your government has said that if you don't come to, like in Anambra State, if you don't come to work, we'll not pay you salaries. You regret it, not pay salaries for 1 month. I will stay at home. I can let the salaries go, because you regret it could mean many things. Would I be shot at? Would I be hacked? Would I be dragged? You know, you just don't know. Yeah. And nobody wants to put themselves deliberately in the face of violence. And so what maybe the government would need to do is for the people to see more security presence on the streets. That is on the one hand. Secondly, also we need to look at if people just feel that, you know, I agree with this movement and this is the way to show my support. So if people are saying that So it has nothing to even do with the threat, or if the government says stay at home, is that this is what I feel, this is what I support this movement, and so I will do. We know people in other countries, they go on hunger strikes. People have died from going on hunger strikes because they want a certain thing to be done. They support a certain cause. And so this is where we have found ourselves. And like Tokwe said, well, to deal with this is not to deal with a person or a voice. It's an ideology. Yeah. There's a feeling of disgruntlement. Yes, people are not happy. They're disgruntled. So those are the things that people need. The government needs to sort out instead of the person.
So what IPOB is saying is that until Nnamdi Kanu is released,
yes,
everybody every Monday must sit at home to that period. What do you make of this?
So for me, I think it's becoming obvious that some people are beginning to flow with this ideology in the Southeast. Initially, when it started, I could argue that there were just a few people who believed in Nnamdi Kanu, who believed in Biafra and all of that. But it's seeming to me now, because of the insecurity issues that the Southeast has faced and the feeling that the government has not stepped in to help them, they are now beginning to say, are you sure it's not this person that will give us the freedom that we want? The freedom to come out of that marginalization, the freedom to be our own people and have equal say on the table. So I'm seeing now, it's seeming to me like a lot of people are now beginning to agree with what is happening. But I also like that it is not, people are not coerced into staying indoors. I would like that it's made open. And everybody has a choice. So if you want to join this ideology, you want to stay at home. But if you're compelling everybody to sit at home on Mondays, where people are supposed to be going out there to get daily bread in the midst of COVID-19, exams are supposed to be written right now, and we're not even sure if the children will be allowed to go write in exam. We should think of the implications going forward. Are you doing us something? Are you doing to us something that will be beneficial to us in the long run? Or are we going to suffer for this sit at home? So I think everybody needs to open their eyes and ask these questions. They should not force anybody to sit at home.
So Nnamdi Kanu's brother just alluded to what you said. He's saying that because of the NECO exams, they should allow these people to go out and do their work.
So this buttressing business point, when this clamor started, there were just a few people, and it was just like, oh, majority of Southeastern people don't really care about this. On a very funny note, I was doing my regular Friday class, and somebody was saying, come to Biafra. Like the person tweeted was commenting under my post and saying, come and develop an estate in Biafra. When you develop estate in Biafra, that's when I will buy. And I've had several people tell me, I cannot buy in Abuja. This country is going to divide. And I'm not saying 1, 2, 3. I'm not saying Yoruba or Igbo. People are saying, I will not buy a land in Abuja because I don't know when Nigeria divides. I don't want my property to be. I want to, please give me somewhere in Owerri. Give me somewhere in Kiniko. So it's a case of little by little, by not dealing with the division, by not dealing with people's hearts' discontent, we have allowed this issue fester. And our leaders need to speak up. The president needs to speak up. Don't just think that dealing with Nnamdi Kanu is the problem. It's Nnamdi Kanu just won, and he has raised the opinion that maybe if we are by ourselves, we'll be fine.
So where we are right now, from what we're saying, it's beyond Nnamdi Kanu.
Yes,
this ideology has grown, and it's gotten quite a lot of support from people. And the government needs to go beyond just arresting Nnamdi Kanu if not done anything. There's more to there are issues on ground that needs to be addressed. Let me take this call from Madam Awa. Good morning, are you there? Hello, you're live.
Wow.
Hello, Alaji Uba, are you there? Uba. Yeah, I think we don't have that call. Go ahead.
Yeah, Mariah, so for me, it's not also about, because anytime the government wants to step in, they go in with force and military. You just see military men everywhere. People cannot go about their daily businesses. I don't think that is what is required right now, because they may sit down and feel for someone to have control of a state, that everybody's sitting at home, we need to bring in military presence, we need to tell them, and that is not what we need. I think this is a time for dialogue. I think this is time that the leaders of the Southeast, the governors of the Southeast need to engage their people. We're not seeing so much engagement. It seems like they themselves are not even paying. They are not even, I don't know how to put it.
I don't think the people believe in that.
Have they called them? Have they called them? They need to. It's not, so body language speaks. You need to call somebody and keep calling. Let the world know that you're calling, you're making noise. We want to make this work. Come out and talk to us. Have they insisted in the call.
Yes.
Okay, let me take this call from, I think we have another call. Good morning, are you there? Hello, you're live. Please listen to me, not the television. Are you there?
Network. No, the person is there.
Okay, go ahead.
No, please, I want to be in response to what BC said, because really, when we discuss here, it's not just to lament the situation, because I want Nigeria to work. I want Nigeria to be together. And I honestly don't believe that Nigeria should divide. I don't think that's the solution. And I must say this to those that are thinking in their mind that there's a Biafra will be better than Nigeria. No. I think that we need to understand that we need to be together. Let's not focus on division. Let's focus on demanding good governance.
Good governance.
And if the governors want to win back the trust of the people, they need to not just speak, they need to show action. You need to show that I listen to you. I understand that food is expensive. I'm not saying that governor that is coming out and saying that I know the acre of rice is now. I know that bread is now. I know that you must speak a language. The tomato is expensive. Tell me you know what it means. I don't want tell me to help me empathize with me that I am having to pay more for school fees because the government school has failed.
I hear you very clearly, and what you said is very valid. But I don't want us to speak for people who want a new state. I don't want us to speak for people who want their own region. We've seen it all over the world. Where Scotland says, I'm done with you guys, I want to move on. So it's a legitimate agitation. It is how it is handled. Yes, we don't want them to go. There are ways you do it. Yeah. So, but they have every reason to say, I want to pull out. That's constitutional right. Maybe I'll come to you, Marab. Let me take Aminu. Aminu, are you there?
I hope.
Yes, I'm there.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yes. You see, agitation is legitimate all over.
Yeah.
It's legitimate. And if the indigenous people of Biafra wanted to leave Nigeria, I don't want to believe anybody will force them to be in Nigeria. It's their right.
Agree.
We should go for a referendum. Allow them to go. Whoever that wants to leave Nigeria, let him leave. It's not by force. It's not by any reason. So we are only in Nigeria because we feel we are comfortable with each other. If in an event we find out that we are not comfortable with each other, we are not compatible people, we are not benefiting from one another, I don't see any reason we should remain as Nigerians. Nobody will force any Biafran or...
Thank you very much. I'm going to go on a break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation because there are people that have believed in this. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So I'm told we have Clement. Good morning, Clement. Are you there? Good morning, Clement. Are you there?
I can hear you. I can hear you. Good morning. I can hear you.
Go ahead, please. You're live.
I'm here. Good morning. How you guys doing?
Fine.
You're live. Go ahead, please. Fine.
Yes, I'm here. I'm hearing you people. Good morning. Good morning. How you people doing?
We're doing amazing.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. The seat.
Talk with your comments, please.
Please, we are having people
sorry, I'll come to you.
Thank you very much. Yes. So, when Obiodun and Toko were speaking, I was just listening as per where they talked about asking people the way to do this sit at home in such a way that it does not affect the people running their business and things like that. The truth is that when you have a cause that you are supporting or you're agitating for, sacrifices will be made. Yeah, that is it. There's always the side of, if you pick a side, there are consequences to that side. So if it means that for that, we may deny ourselves going to school, we may deny ourselves going to the market, all those things come under things like this. But, going forward, I just feel that it's important that government calls the people of the Southeast to the table. And this is the conversation I think we need to have, which is maybe give us a timeline. Southeast, what exactly are your valid demands that you want? In what ways do you feel marginalized? And in what ways can we show you in the next 5 to 10 years that we are
together.
You know, we are serious about breaking this divide and incorporating everyone into this.
Yeah.
And then if government also listens to the demands and says, this does not make sense for one Nigeria, this may not work for one Nigeria, do you understand? We need to hear that sort of conversations now coming out. It should not just be about arresting and letting one person go. These are the things that we want, and this is what the government can do, and this is the timeline that has been given. And let's see if it will work. But now we have also a group of people from different parts of Nigeria now, not from the southeast, even from the north. They're saying, you know what? Maybe it's time to let these people get their demands. Maybe it's time to let them get the separate state or country that they want, if it will be better for the rest of the people in Nigeria.
Right, let me take comments from our Facebook.
As a vicious comments, Murayo. So one person is saying, "One Nigeria kill you there." That's from Sunday Sky Leo.
Please pick nice comments.
And but a lot, and I think that we need to. No. We need. I'm not going to read the remaining, but there are several of them who feel this disgruntled enough to wish death on another person. And I think until we realize that we all bleed red, like. Whether they cut your hand in the east or they cut your hand in the west.
My own is that when you say you're disgruntled, like what exactly?
No, they have many. They listed many of their complaints.
So that's it. So
but I want to. There are still some good ones.
Upset, we're disgruntled, and we don't hear the exact thing that you do.
There's clamor for for an Eastern governor since forever. Like
the Eastern governor,
Eastern president forever.
Exactly. And then how does that work? What has the Southeast come together to? Who have they chosen together that this is a person that we want to put on our party, and this is what the party is?
Let me just take a few comments and we run off.
Yes, Pascal says that here in the East, nobody is forcing us to stay at home. We just believe that this will bring the attention of government and Eastern elites to work towards the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And there are many people supporting him, right within the comments, with negative comments that I don't want to read, saying that even the Eastern governors are sitting at home.
Let me take Robert from London. Are you there? Robert from London, are you there?
Obinna Godwin says, United Nations and different cultures where some people are superior than others, where some people are more Nigerian than others, where some people have rights to kill and cannot be arrested, where some people are born to rule. Is that the United Nations you want? So I think with all the agitations they have had so far, the bottom line now is what IPOB is saying is they're tired and they want to go. They no longer believe in the vision One Nigeria because according to everything that they have stated, it hasn't paid them. So I think we should, allow them to have a referendum. Let everybody come together and say yes, because you can't keep holding on to somebody that is ready, that is no longer interested. So we've tried to make peace. We've tried for you to understand that we are a part of this. You haven't given us that. Do you understand? So I think it's time to allow them to have a referendum.
Over and over, and I think I really would like to have a conversation, maybe back-to-back conversation with members of the National Assembly. Let's even, what are exactly the issue? Because as a layman, I'm thinking United Arab Emirates, independent countries. Abu Dhabi is different from Dubai. They're all different in different ways. They have their
control their resources.
They control their resources. And they're together. So the point I'm trying to make therefore is that why is it so difficult for us to replicate these kinds of systems here? What is the hard thing about it?
Mariah, those are the conversations. You know, there's one conversation concerning the Southeast that rings true and often, which is every time we see appointments being made, we do not think that we're ably and well represented.
Exactly.
And I feel that that would have been the easiest thing to do as a government to show that, you know what, this is not the way it is. Because if we're saying we're really based on people who are qualified or intelligent, we do have a crop of people
that people from there are not?
So we do have a crop of people from that place that can represent us. But now going further about the about running for president. Now, this is where the Southeast needs to show Nigeria. This is who we have supported. This is what we want. And then you now give the Nigerians an opportunity
and to work politics.
As I'm sitting down here, I'm also in the case of, I don't really even trust that there's a willingness on the part of the government to hear what is going on. Like, because in other areas, there's still no willingness to hear what is going on. And as long as the government does not get our trust, because the trust has to go overboard. If we don't trust the government, we cannot believe anything that is being said. No, so whether we, if they promise ABC, we'll still not believe them.
I think by the time I made a post, I was trying to get our colleague from Enugu to tell us what's going on. But these are pictures from Enugu. Total and complete.
Are you kidding me?
This is not cohesion.
Compliance. These are pictures we're seeing from the southeast. I mean, I think
we would like to hear more from them.
I don't know which state this is from, but these are live pictures we're getting. We have to wrap up, but the truth is that what exactly is leadership? Leadership is when your follower is allowing you to lead. If they trust you to lead, they've given you that mantle to lead them. Because the truth is that if the people are losing regard for the system, we need to have a conversation. Because we are the ones that give them the power. And if we say we don't want you to be part of our
Who is a leader without a follower? Who is a leader without a follower?
Looking at that video, it's a very powerful message to the federal government.
If they are listening.
It is a very powerful message to the federal government, and you need to find a different strategy on how to handle this.
And I hope they listen.
Because it looks like the people have spoken.
And so I'd like to wrap up with that. I'd like to wrap up with that because the truth is, protests have become violent. This is a protest.
This is a new protest.
This is a different kind of protest. And it can be very, very impactful. We have to run off. Let's go on a break now. When we come back, move on to another topic. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. Moving on now to other topics. Now, the issue of severe flooding and destructive erosion has continued to ravage many parts of the country, and experts have linked this to man-made problems. Joining us on the show now is the town planner, Tony Ayinde. Welcome to the show, sir, Mr. Tony Ayinde.
Good morning, Morayo.
Yes.
Good morning, Tope, BC, and Miriam.
Oh, thank you very much.
You know, I watch you guys.
Oh, wow. Good to know that. All right, so when you travel out of the country and you're flying into a country, you see the beautiful landscape, the beautiful planning, and you're thinking, wow, this is a beautiful country, you know. And when you juxtapose that to in Nigeria, I mean, Abuja, fairly okay. You can see there's some kind of planning that happened in certain areas. But it's quite painful that other parts of this country, we didn't have proper planning. There are just houses everywhere, lights everywhere, scattered. How do we begin to, do we have to destroy all these houses to replan or to rebuild? Or how do we begin to fix a situation where there was no planning from the beginning in our country?
It all begins with good governance. You know, in those countries where you have mentioned, you will discover that planning answers to good governance. When government moves to governance, you know, you can be government and not deliver governance.
Absolutely.
For example, in UK, government establishes a public housing policy, and governance delivers that housing policy. And that's why you see that in every estate, the buildings are of the same shape, the same height, the same color. As you move from estate A to B, the building type may be different, but they will be of the same shape, the same height, the same color. And it's repeated over their cities. That's because governance has established a plan, and then town planning answers to it. So I tell people that it is the responsibility of government to plan, but it is the knowledge acquired by town planners to help government put those plans on paper. You know, you work from paper to reality. So to get things right in Nigeria, we really have to address our governance. Again, the governance system. Governance is supposed to take care of everybody. So when government takes care of everybody, you don't do self-help. why you see different things in Nigeria, different heights, is that we do self-help. In UK, when you have accommodation problem, what works in your mind is, which apartment do I subscribe to? Is it the council flats? Is it the cooperative flats? Is it the private corporation flats? That's because governance has established it. But where there is none, you do self-help. So if all of us in Nigeria have accommodation problem, we all get our different plots. We all have our different briefs for our different architects. We all have different access to funds. So Tope builds 5 floors because she has the funds. BC decides to do 3 floors. And then I decide to do 7 floors. And Miriam does a bungalow. And then you do. So you have that staccato of heights. Justifying that Nigerian musician that sang Nigeria Jaga Jaga. So it's pointing to the fact that somewhere leadership has not been taken of the human community. And it is government's responsibility to take this ownership, because government has what you call the power of eminent domain. It's only government that can declare the whole of an area an acquisition for overriding public interest. And once they have declared that, they have that capacity to be able to plan, and then the town planners come.
Let me go on a very short break. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're still with the town planner, Mr. Oluwatoyin Ayinde. Yes, Mariam.
Yes, sir. So you explained to us how we got here. You know, Mariah had previously asked, like, okay, now we know we're here. How do we get out of it? Especially now looking at how climate is forcing us to make a change, whether we like it or not.
We have to take some bold decisions. You know, someone said, no matter how far going you are into the bush, you know that it's the wrong direction. You have to come back. Personally, I always see Nigeria as a very big market for regeneration. You know why? We're developing, we're expanding, we're not relating it even to our land resources. And as population is increasing, our land remains the same. You know, there are countries like us that saw things like this before. Singapore many years ago was developing low level. And once the governance established that no Singaporean must be homeless, you discover that those 2-floor, 3-floor buildings will not accommodate them. So they brought them down. In the first instance, they had 10-floor buildings. In the first instance. But in 2012, when I paid my second visit to Singapore, from a building, they were showing us the last set of 10-floor buildings that had not been demolished. Those ones that had been demolished, they had replaced them with 30, 40 floors of buildings, just to ensure they have more dwelling units. Wow. So I believe that when we are ready to take that bold decision, we'll begin to consolidate all these pieces of properties together. When I served the Babatunde Raji Fashola government between 2011 and 2015, as Commissioner of Fiscal Planning and Urban Development, we had a model like that in the Salegongon project, where about 11 plots were brought together. They were tiny plots in Lagos Island, but they were brought together, and in place of that, there was a 13-floor building that we put up, I think, with about 48 dwelling units. You know, so things like that over time will take place for us to take charge of our environment before it takes charge or destroys us.
Okay, so sir, it seems to me like the government is not even ready to take charge with all the issues it has. The direction of the government is facing so many places at the same time, and we may likely wait for a very long time. In the interim, don't you think a private partnership would help to solve the problem? Don't you think the government can get into private partnership with individuals who would ordinarily have resorted to self-help to, do something together that will benefit the people?
Well, let me say that some efforts had been made in the past. Some had partial success. Some failed. Because you find out sometimes that when government wants to do PPP, they bring in the private sector person. The private sector man is saying, give us the land document so that we can use it to access loans. And we have had a situation where they access the loan and then use it for another project. And then you want to stop them, they take you to court. And then you know what our justice system is. You continue to drag. But let me also say that it failed sometimes does not mean that we cannot rejig it. Because the truth is, if we do not replan all these things and rediscover ourselves, we either plan or we perish.
Plan or perish.
Okay, sir. The questions are similar, but different. I see this current administration doing a whole lot with real estate companies, but I play in the real estate sector, and I understand that every documentation, like real estate developers have been seen as a revenue-generating unit for the government, as opposed to a collaborating unit to help solve the problem the government have been unable to solve for several years. So it's not like there's any incentive for lands to develop. There's no incentives in terms of processing your documentation fast for developers. There's no incentive in terms of funds that will be accessible for you to do your development. What exactly would you propose is the best solution for the government to maximize the large number of entrepreneurs playing in the real estate industry?
One of the things I think we must do is to have a dialogue. I think this thing has to be opened. The truth is, we don't even have that much land on which we are developing on. So we need to bring all of the players to realize that this is the amount of land. Of every amount of land that is available to any state or any nation, there is a portion of that land that is supposed to go for conservation, that you will not develop at all.
Wow.
At all. Not recreational parks, conservation, because you can't develop all that you have. You can't. Then there are places for parks, for recreation. So at the end of the day, when we begin to look at this thing, we look at our population. Some projections are saying that in 15 years, Lagos will be about 40 million. So where would they be living? If we do not sit down and begin, look, even the real estate developers must begin to rethink the kind of plans that they are looking at. Maybe it will become a luxury for you to have a detached home. Maybe all of us have to live in apartments in order to be able to accommodate
As the president
ourselves.
of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, I know that you're doing on a state tour, and this is the 14th state you've been touring. What do you plan to achieve? What exactly is your objective for going around, and what do you hope to get from this tour that you're doing around?
Okay, the objective really is that we have found out that there's a whole lot of misconception about planning. Many people think that building plan approval is town planning or urban planning, but it is the downstream pedestrian product of planning. We've seen that what we do generally in Nigeria is that we develop before planning. But the sequence all over the world is that you plan first before you develop. It's just like the sequence between thinking and speaking, and you will understand that. You think first before you speak, and that's why the good book says, do you see a man who speaks without thinking? It says there is more hope for a fool than for him. So do you see a man developing without planning? Do you see a nation developing without planning? It can only end in chaos. And that's the truth. And I tell people, one of the things that makes it imperative for us to plan is an analogy of if you put a bone before a dog, you will have no problem. It will wag its tail and dance before you. If you put that same bone between two dogs, there will be a struggle, right? But put that bone in the middle of 50 dogs, what do you think will happen? They will leave the bone and fight themselves to finish. Call that bone the land resources of Nigeria.
So that's the Nigerian story.
Call that bone the Nigerian land or our territory. In 1971, my tutor told me in Form 1 that Nigeria was 56 million. This is 50 years after 1971. We don't have the same land that we had then because Cameroon took Bakassi away from us. But you know what? Projection says that we are over 211 million. In a few years' time, we'll be 300, we'll be 400 on the same land. So if we do not plan these resources, we're finished. What other nations do? There's no nation that can expand its territory. So what they do to manage that limited land resource is to plan it. So we must come down and plan.
All right, sir, some people will be listening to you and be like, in the north, there's just expanse of land, just free land, nobody living there, just bushes and forests. Why should this be our problem as Nigerians?
There's land.
We'll just ship people, you know, from these congested areas to where there's free land. As a town planner, what is the response?
Are you aware that as a nation, let's not even say state, as a nation we need land for agriculture? So even those lands that people are talking about, when we ship them there, you'll be encroaching on land for agriculture. And anywhere you build, you can't plant there again. And the moment you are doing that, it means that you are increasing food security problems, right? So it's a balance. We have to, and that's why planning comes from studying. I don't know if I've told you about Socrates. Socrates lived between 470 and 399 BC. And he said, by far the greatest and most admirable form of wisdom is that needed to plan and beautify cities and human communities.
Let me come to you for a second, sir, because I know that the Honorable Minister Fashola had said that he complained that we don't have a housing problem because there are houses. People just choose not to go and live them. So, for example, you drive to certain areas and you see this huge development that they've done. People refuse to go there possibly because they didn't plan. That place is not residential enough. It's far from the cities. So my question therefore to you is that what precedes, what's the planning that precedes developing an estate, for example? Is it that you ensure that the malls are there, the roads are there? What exactly do you do? Because people just choose not to go to those places.
Sir, but Maria, I need to just address it because that issue, when we raised it, people came for me that I did not take the part of real estate developers, what we should say. Because when the minister was talking about housing deficit not being the number it is, developers are saying that the reason we have housing deficit is not that there are no houses. It is that you can live in Nigeria for 20 years, work hard for 20 years, and be a tenant for 20 years. There's no plan towards home ownership. The government, the housing deficit is that you will be a renter, you will rent house all your life. You don't own. There is no policy to ensure you own. That is the one that we need the minister to deal with. But the question she asked, which is, what are the infrastructure that should be on ground to ensure that the empty houses built in some locations get occupied?
Now, you see, apart from infrastructure, you find that in some places there are infrastructure, but people are just not there. The question is, who did those people build for?
Thank you.
Before you build, you're supposed to conduct some surveys.
I agree.
To know those who need the houses. I was going through Abuja to my office, and I saw a lot of estates. I was asking myself, so where are the poor people going to live here? So, yeah, they will be there for the high class. But what of the low cost?
How many high class do you have?
So, before estates are put up, it's good to investigate, to find out. And like somebody said, part of this, my nationwide tour, I met with a traditional ruler who said that our planning is elitist. And I agree with him. Because we do a lot of GRAs. And I think we borrowed it from the British. When the British came here, they planned only the areas where they were living.
To stay. Thank you.
So we became GRA. And when our brothers took over.
So, sir, it boils down to the fact that the government is not paying attention to the people they are meant to serve. So in their minds, they are preferring solutions that suit them and not solutions suitable to the people that they are serving. But, you know, I wanted to ask you, how do you think this consolidation will work. And some of the conversations we need to start having with government now on how we can manage the little land we have, you know, when you compare to the population we are going to have. So I know that in other countries, they have very high-rise buildings. Now, how do we get people to say, okay, we can come together and, you know, merge something and have these high-rise buildings that would cater to people? Is it something we should be looking at? And when they approach you as a landowner, as a landlord or whatever, how do you, what do you bring to the table? How do you understand it?
No, it's been done before. Okay. That's why I said it happened in Isale Gongon during the Fashola administration. And it can still happen again. It all begins with dialogue, by approaching people. You know, before you take away something from someone, you must show him what you have in return. And that's what I think is lacking in most of our plans. So we must be able, and I think government can take leadership in this. Although, the truth, I heard you say in one of your in the earlier program that people don't trust government. I remember somebody saying that to us when we wanted to work on the Adeniji Adele scheme. They said, Your Excellency, sir, we don't trust government. So government must also look for those people, those leaders in the society, not necessarily government people, that people trust. And those are the people that must first start these discussions and negotiate and make the conversation, and then we can all have a round table.
We're actually supposed to talk about flooding, but we didn't even touch on flooding at all.
Very important.
And I want to, I believe strongly that beyond talking about all of this is that, sir, you are in government, you are the president, national president of town planners. I think the biggest thing we need is a vision of how our layout is going to be. What would you say is being done to help? Because I see flooding that take place, there are a lot of flooding reported in Oyo, and when I drive through Oyo, I see the houses being built, like the houses are built, there's no road, there's nothing in between them. And a lot of them are developed on an individual basis. How can we create a vision? What vision are you creating as a town planning national president for Nigeria?
Okay. Now, I don't need to create a vision for Nigeria. Nigeria should obey its own planning law. Nigeria promulgated a Nigerian urban and regional planning law in 1992. And it became a law of the Federation of Nigeria in 2004. The federal government is yet to implement that aspect that it's supposed to do. It prescribes that we're supposed to have a national physical plan. A national physical plan will have told us how our states connect, how the drainage systems in Nigeria. Look, God did not design anywhere to be flooding. There are valleys, there are streams, and all of these things are supposed to join and connect waterways. So, from our national physical plan, then we'll go to the sub-national, the geopolitical regions will have their plans, and then the states will have their own plans, regional plans, telling a state governor how all the communities in his state are located and how he can connect them. So we must obey these laws. And one of the reasons I'm traveling is to see which states have domesticated it or not, because states too are expected to domesticate. Well, Lagos is far ahead on that because domesticated it many years ago. But some states are yet.
We have to wrap up, sir. Thank you so much for shedding light on this for us. We just continue to hope that there'll be some kind of sanction after you've gone around and seen those who have not domesticated, because it's important. It's one thing to check, another thing that nothing happens.
We'll come back to the media.
That's all we can take on the show today. Hope you learned a few things as we have. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.